Nothing quite says I don't give a fuck like playing Zealot the Salty, the only class with a portable and detachable lump of potential crispy bacon for a hat. You heard me right. Portable bacon hat. Hat, bacon, transportable. And really, that's all you need to know to make an decision about why you should play the Zealot. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, yada yada yada, peace out.
Nope.
So today I'm gonna show you guys a core build along with a couple of variations, which is the build I prefer to use whenever I'm quick playing Legend or Kata with the Zealot. So we're not gonna go into every little niche and detail and talk about every single talent you could have used, but this is the build that I myself prefer to use whenever I do quick play. So let's get started. Now, pretty straightforward, you're going to start out with the Billhook, with crit chance, block cost reduction, and swift slaying. Now, the Billhook is, in my opinion, the strongest weapon for the Zealot at the moment. So, I've paired that with Brace of Pistols. The reason I haven't gotten the one-shot crossbow, which you could easily make a case that the one-shot crossbow is actually stronger, but this is a quick play build. First of all, I think a lot of people find it easier to use the Brace of Pistols, and let's all be real, the Brace of Pistols are way more fun. Right? Like, either way you slice it, they're way more fun. And they are fun, not just fun, but they are nearly as viable. Let's put it that way. Nearly. Not quite, but nearly. So I'm not going to go into details why, but for that reason, I've gotten the Brace of Pistol. Stamina, health, bark skin, pretty standard here. As for the charm, we got attack speed, power versus chaos, decanter. Again, no big surprises here. And lastly, we have the Trinket, which is probably the most important one. Now, I prefer, normally now is the time I would say that you're going to be using either a crit chance stamina recovery or curse resistance and crit chance stamina recovery, right? But because you're playing the Zealot, I don't think curse resistance is ever really necessary on the Zealot because of the way his passive works. Now, if you are uncomfortable having a very low HP pool, by all means, get curse resistance, and I would suggest stamina recovery. It is the more important in relation to crit chance. Now, as for the talents, we're going to start off with the ones that are sort of set, and then we're going to take the level 5 and level 25 last. First, we have Castigate. Castigate is amazing. It's essentially a passive that gives you 20% extra attack speed, assuming you're under 20% health. Mainstay, and the reason you're going to be going Mainstay is because you're using the Billhook, and the Billhook has a special attack. That special attack instantly puts any minion into stagger count equals 2, which means you gain the most DPS from Mainstay. You can also get Enhanced Power, and you can also get Smiter, but I would say Mainstay is the best. Then we have Holy Fortitude. Now, for those of you who don't know, each stack of Fury Faith also increases healing received. Now, healing received also refers to temporary HP generated, which means this talent alone is going to increase the amount of temporary HP you generate by 90%. Now, either of the other two talents are actually pretty good as well, but for the context of quick play, I would definitely suggest getting Holy Fortitude. Now, the movement speed is in a lot of instances better at really difficult stuff, but for quick play, I would always get the temporary HP. That's just how I like to play him. Also, especially if you're new to the Zealot. As for the ulti, you're always gonna get Flagellant Zeal. Now, what it essentially does is reduce your ultimate's cooldown by 50%. So you just need to hit 10 minions in the 5 seconds that you have the buff from your ulti, and then it's gonna remove half the cost of your career ability instantaneously, which means you can cast your career ability all the time. Now, the reason I've sort of left out the two other talents is because you could sort of argue either case here. I sometimes swap them around. Now, here's the thing about the temporary HP talent. In my opinion, Repent is the stronger talent of the two for the Zealot, because it gets temporary HP based on kills. You're gonna kill a lot of armored elites, and it's great, right? That's the one I would pick every single time if I was doing Fortunes of War, if I was doing Weaves, if I was doing something really difficult, Vanguard deeds, right? But I found in quick play, it is horribly inconsistent for one reason. You have shades last hitting the elites, you have elves shooting them, you have Grail Knights ulting them, you have, like, you're not gaining any temporary HP, at least not a lot, from fighting trash minions with Repent. And the problem is that the inconsistencies of having sort of competition for the last hits all the time, that means in periods where elite minions are scarce, your temporary HP is going to degenerate, and there's very little you can do other than actually rushing ahead to keep it going, which means you risk sort of activating your passive, you risk getting low, because it's really hard to sustain without being very aggressive and sort of in front all the time, which is of course annoying for your team, right? For that reason, I think Sigmar's Herald is way better for the context of quick play and playing with random teammates, essentially, because it gives you all the HP generation you need simply by fighting a horde. So for that reason, I would get Sigmar's Herald, I would say 9 out of 10 times. At least if you're a new player, you're going to have an easier time using that. Then at level 25, we have Devotion and Redemption through Blood. Now, the better of the two talents is Devotion, in my opinion. Taking damage increases your movement speed, and it also removes sort of the slow that is sort of applied to you whenever you take damage, right? So there's no slow from being damaged. Now, this is incredibly useful for keeping a distance, keeping mobility, positioning, and just all around. Amazing talent, right? But, again, in the context of quick play, like, there's no doubt in my mind the Devotion is the better talent of the two, if you ask me. But Redemption through Blood is amazing, especially for people that aren't super good, sort of still practicing with the billhook. Because whenever you take damage, it essentially resets all of your stamina. And stamina is really, really important to the billhook, as you'll see momentarily, because it costs half a stamina to use your special, at least assuming it collides with an enemy. And you also need the push-block attack to sort of effectively fight hordes. You need that push-block attack combo, unless you have all the attack speed modifiers at once, right? Then maybe you can do it with just light attacks, but most of the time you're going to need that push-block attack. Now, the basic combo for fighting hordes is push-block attack into a double light attack. Sort of 2 out of 3 of those attacks are going to cleave, the first and the third, right? From there, you can either keep going with 2 more light attacks to keep sort of the same rhythm going of 1 stab, 1 cleave, 1 stab, 1 cleave. Or, if you have enough stamina for it, you can use the weapon special and then attack. Weapon special, then attack, because the weapon special attack is shorter, it takes less time than the stab attack, which means you get more cleave attacks in the same amount of time, if that makes sense. As you can see here. Now, in order to gain your attack speed buff, the number 2 one that gives you 20%, and here you can see, by the way, here you can see the stacker. It doesn't work for bosses, by the way, only works for minions, but also for non-man-sized minions. So even a Chaos Warrior doing a heavy attack on Kata, 100% guaranteed it's gonna stacker him, but it can only target 1 enemy at a time. And so sort of hitting the right enemy can be incredibly important depending on what is attacking you. Now, in terms of your HP, the mark you want to hit with 20% HP is 30. 36 HP, that's when you get your attack speed buff, but if you want the 6th charge in order to get all the full 30%, then you're going to need to be at 30 HP or lower, and it doesn't count temp HP, right? So you just need to get below 30 green HP, and then start farming temporary HP. Versus elites, the classic combo is weapon special, heavy, weapon special, heavy. You can also, for increased damage, just use heavy, 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 heavy. But it's a really good idea to use that weapon special, because again, it stackers them for extra damage. As you can see here, you can actually reach, like most of the time, without too much effort, you can actually have plus 75% attack speed, which, as you can imagine, is a huge help. Like, that's an absolutely huge help. From Swift Slaying, you have your ulti, which you can literally cast all the freaking time, and then you have the passive. And once you have that attack speed sort of up and running, then you're literally just killing everything, and I mean everything. You're a DPS machine, okay? Now, here's a really important trick. As you can see, I'm not going the full distance here. Now, all you have to do to stop whenever you want is right-click. Now, this is hugely important because there are plenty of situations where you're holding a line with your team, and you don't wanna charge into that sort of horde of death minions and sort of position suddenly with a half an army between you and your team, right? So you cast it and then you cancel it, thus staying in the same position but still gaining the attack speed buff. Now, as you can see here, just a really bad demonstration. I was really tired when I recorded that, but it gets the point across. We're gonna watch a lot more gameplay, but just, you know, to get the basic idea here, you're essentially trying to always use the special attack on whichever minion is about to hit you next, right? The one minion that you can't dodge, you can't get out of the way, weapon special. And as you can see, the amount of DPS you deal with this is insane. So we're essentially going to watch a couple of Zealot clips from the last few days of me playing Quick Play. So all of these are random teams. There's a little bit of everything, some clutching, both successful and unsuccessful. We're going to talk a little bit about positioning. We're going to talk a little bit about when to use your ability and what you can use it for. So hopefully you guys learned something new. Already here in the beginning, there's a positional mistake on my part. And I've also added a couple of memes just to, you know, spice things up a little bit. You know, spicy. Let's get started.
So, where are you from?
Behind us. It must be ahead,
It's as if some monstrous claws have scooped out.
Dutch, both of us.
If it is of any consolation, you'll be dead before you hit bottom.
So, like, I had noticed my team were behind here, but honestly, there was one Strangler, and in my mind, they were fine, I guess. It ended up, you know, not being the case. But I think in my mind at this point, I was like, they're fine. And that's not, also, you can't really go back from here. Once you're here, like, the place they're in right now is not a place you want to be in.
Whenever I tell somebody I'm Dutch, they ask me where in Denmark I'm from.
Bruh.
Like, bruh. If you guys didn't hear that, he said whenever he tells people that he's Dutch, they ask him where in Denmark that he's from. Like, I wouldn't even blame people, like, if they were American at least, or like Asian.
How long before it all slides into that maw?
It's understandable. Now, the moment I heard that Strangler, you sort of have a choice here, right? You're the last person alive. What is your objective? Always think in terms of objective. My objective is to get to the point where all of my teammates are reviving. Now, I can rush there, or I can take it nice and easy and play it sort of calculated, right? Now, because of the map structure here, I knew there was a sort of an animation between me and the Strangler. So the Strangler was a bit away, right? It wasn't like gonna grab me in like a second. And so I decided to put a little bit of extra distance, because over here you have a bottleneck. And although I failed this throw because I forgot to jump, the idea here was to sort of, you know, isolate all the minions in one spot, throw the bomb, easy hit, right? Thankfully it was enough that I was able to mark it and kill it nonetheless. But then I knew where it was, right? So marking it was also easier. Here you see just how sort of... Here you see the temporary HP from minions hit come into play. Whereas if I'd had from kills here, I would have gotten almost no temp HP, right? Now, as soon as you hear an assassin, that's one thing. That should be your primary focus. But as soon as you hear two assassins, you sort of have to make a hard choice, right? Because here's the thing. If two assassins spawn, and one is in front of you and one is behind you, there is really nothing you can do outside of luck and like pure mechanical skill if you just know what you're doing, right? There's no way you can you can't look both ways simultaneously, right? And so you have to pick one and focus on, okay, if the assassin's coming from that direction, I got it. Okay, and then ignore the other. Thankfully, in this spot in particular, due to the map structure, I know that it is extremely likely, like even before I saw the assassins, that both of them would be in front of me. I'm not sure why exactly this is the case, but it has to do with the map structure. There are certain areas where where specials that spawn behind will go up to, and they can cross, but it's like once you're past a certain area, all the specials will spawn in front of you. I don't know how else to explain it. It's almost like a drop-off for special spawns. I don't know how to explain it. I'm not exactly sure what the mechanic involved in is, but like when you're in that area, you're almost always going to have specials coming from the front, unless they spawn before you jump down.
No!
That was a neat little bit of timing. It was a bit risky, but have dodged many leeches. But okay, so let's recap here. How many amazing plays have I done between now and everyone dying? 0. Sure, I dodged an assassin, that's about it, right? Yet most people would have failed. You might not think that's the case, but that is the case. Most people would have failed. And it wasn't that I did anything amazing. I did the one thing that is often hardest for people to do, which is just take it nice and easy. And don't fuck up. Don't screw yourself over. That's all I did. Took it nice, easy. I didn't overthink it. I didn't overcomplicate it. I didn't stress. And that was all it took. And quite often that is the case. Now here, positioning-wise, this is a great spot because you're not trapped. It's not sort of a enclosed area, so you have sort of two paths, a 90-degree angle, which means if you went into the corner, you can spot a special from either side. At the same time, you have two sort of bottlenecks, sort of concentrating all of the minion spawns. So for all of those reasons, this is a great spot to just fight incoming hordes, patrols, really anything. Patrols you prefer a little bit more in the open, but nonetheless, it's generally speaking that's the best spot you can be in the fight. In this area. Now it's very important that you learn how to manage your stamina when you're using this build. Now it takes a bit of getting used to. It does. And you have to remember that it costs you half one stamina or half a shield to do the special attack when it actually collides with something. Now this is one of the worst spots in Athlete and Loot, and I think this is one of like 3 spots where you wipe if you wipe in this map. Right here after this drop down, right? There's a couple of things that happen. First of all, it's the last boss trigger, right? So you can get a boss here, that's one factor. It's the fact that when people go to take the tome, they don't come out, like they're too slow. Like what you want to avoid at all costs here is ending up here. This area here locks you down. There's a point of no return here. So as soon as you jump here, down here, unless you're going for the tome, you want to immediately move up here. Okay? Immediately. Because you don't want to get trapped down there. That is the opposite of where you want to be when shit hits the fan, right? Now we got a troll here.
Hear that? You like trolls, mate?
You like trolls, mate? I love trolls. Now obviously you want to burst a boss down. But when you then have a horde spawn afterwards, you have to sort of make a calculation or a judgment call here. Okay, if I hit the troll down to half HP, activating its animation, is it realistic that I could deal even like half the damage of, you know, its temporary HP or whatever you want to call it, the thing that it's going to regenerate? And if the answer to that is no, then it's probably better that I clear out all the stuff first, there's no real need for me to you know, keep hitting him, because he's just gonna regenerate more HP if I do that. So now here I kind of get screwed over by the game mechanically, momentarily. It's not so much that I get picked up, but like I took the damage, get picked up again without really ever dropping, then I get thrown up here. But you know, that in of itself isn't a problem, but I did take more damage than I should have. Now my passive is off. As soon as your passive is off, you need to worry. That's when you need to play safe, right? Unfortunately, I went back to try and save my mate, even though it was a lost cause. Which is also why I drained my pot immediately, because now I'm the last man standing. And again, I know where people spawn. My one objective is to get to them and get them up, right? And so I want to make distance between me and the boss, because I'm not Shade. I can't revive them if the boss is hitting me in the face. Fortunately here, I'm gonna watch that again, don't worry. I got absolutely fucking wrecked. Like, I don't know if you saw, but I assumed the Strangler was going straight for me, grabbing, right? It's going to me, and it's gonna try to grab me. I dodged, timing it as if it was going straight for me. It wasn't. See, it had like that animation it had to do first, and then it grabbed me the second later, and I was not prepared for that, which was unfortunate. So this is the only clip we're gonna watch where I'm not actually using the bill hook. Now here I was trying to take damage, get down to 30 HP, and there was severe lag. I included this clip because of it's a bit chaotic, and some weird shit happens because of the lag. Okay, some weird shit happens. I'm not sure exactly how I died. It didn't really make any sense, but it was probably due to a poor connection. See, just trying to use the poison there to get down to below 30.
Can't afford to waste them. Don't lecture me, we'll be next then.
After a patrol, of course, as soon as I heal the Strangler, that's my primary focus. You want to be aggressive when it comes to taking out specials. I jumped down to save my help my teammate, and then he dropped, and you know, then I got screwed over hard. So things are, you know, starting to look a little bit not optimal. Again, ooh, that Strangler. It's very, very hard to hit specials because of this delay, which came in waves. Now, whenever you're the last person standing, again, you need a plan. If you don't know what to do, the best thing you can do is to back off. Back off until you have just a little bit of room to think. Okay, the obstacle here. Boom, I go up. I try to make some room between. I got stuck here. Jump, ulti. Why jump first? If you ever want to move through minions, cross minions, get to the other side of a bunch of minions, jump first before you use the ability. Absolutely crucial. Makes it way less likely that you're gonna collide with them. And you saw what I mean? Like, a couple of things there made no sense. We'll watch it again real quick. First, look at my health, right? Look at my health right now. 85. Nothing hit me there, but I just took 50 damage. Then I killed the Storm Vermin, even though I'm not killing a Storm Vermin right now, right? I'm not killing a Storm. Suddenly, I have, you see that? 360. That means I'm dead now. I am dead right now. It says I have 360 temporary HP because I'm dead. Yet I get all the way here, then I die. That's how much lag there was that game. I just thought it was a funny / weird inclusion. Now we're gonna see another Hell Scourge clip. That was some bad shooting. And some teamwork for a while between me and the dwarf. Now down here, I shouldn't need to tell you that. Down there is no good place to fight that ogre. Oh yeah, and the red ogre almost like whoo, that sidestep there almost sent me off a cliff. Now I kind of had to get aggro here, right? Because my dwarf is in a point, like in an area where there's no, you know, what's that called again? A dead end. That's the word I was looking for. A dead end. So if I let the red ogre aggro on him, it might be really hard for him to get past it, right? And it might push him off. So for that reason, I had to aggro there. Now this is where the dwarf does something absolutely brilliant that a lot of people could learn something from momentarily. I have aggro on the boss. I am keeping the boss in check. Specials are spawning. What does he do? He moves away, leaving me with the boss to take out the specials away from the boss. I don't like learn from that. That is exactly what you should do. Exactly what you should do. You want to separate the specials and the boss, because a strangler, for example, it's not a problem on its own, but like suddenly if it's inside a rat ogre and you get grabbed by the strangler that you can't hit because it's inside the rat ogre, followed by the rat ogre hitting you while you're strangled, you know what I mean? So if someone has control of one situation, don't help them control the situation. Go control another situation, if that makes sense, right? So if things are clearly under control, I'm, you know, dodge dancing the boss, I'm not, you know, no worries here, then it's okay to leave your teammate to keep the specials away. Now, unfortunately, we didn't have the DPS to take down the rat ogre before the horde arrived here, which was unfortunate. Which complicated things a little bit. The dwarf was getting sort of low, and then he died. Now, I credit this loss to one thing. See that Blightstormer right there? I didn't see him in the moment. I saw he was casting, but I didn't see where he was casting from. So I was just aiming, like, you know, special, you know, things are going fast, right? Like, special, somewhere up there. Nope, fuck. God damn it. And I sort of get pushed out here. Now, this is a big problem, yes. Because also assassin. So, like, rat ogre was so low, but because of the assassin, I couldn't, like, if there was only the rat ogre, I could have, you know, kept the dodge dance going right there on the spot, right? But because of the assassin, I couldn't do that. So I sort of panicked, and I was hoping I could use my ability to sort of get, yeah, either get past the tornado or get picked up by the tornado and hopefully not thrown off the cliff. As you can see, this is not what happened. I just, I was kind of screwed up mechanic-wise. Looked kind of weird.
Well, I hold is magic, but I'm glad
Last clip, but it's a bit longer one. Again, playing Dark Omens on Kata. Now, I don't mean this badly or poorly or anything, but keep in mind here that Cody Spanks, I think, like, I met these guys in Quick Play, right? And it was my feeling that Cody seemed not entirely ready for Kata. And I don't mean that badly, because he only had 200 hours played. And 90% of people are not ready for Kata after having played the game for 200 hours. I don't care what you say, they're just not. At least not for solo queue on an engineer. And I'm not blaming him, because, again, how do you get ready for, I mean, at some point you have to try, right? So this is not, I'm not trying to shit-talk him or anything like that whatsoever. But he did seem to struggle a lot. Not just in this game, but we ended up playing a couple of games, and it did seem like he needed some practice with the engineer, at least on Legend first. So keep that in mind. That this wasn't like a super experienced group of players. I'm not sure about the others. I don't remember how much they've played. I just wanted to give some context, alright? That also makes a difference for how the whole sort of dynamic flows. Because the more you can trust your teammates, the easier everything becomes, right? Now this is one run where I wish I had the temp HP on kills instead of on cleave. At least for this bit. Boom, headshot. You need to be aggressive as a zealot, taking out those elites. There's also another thing I thought about talking about here is it's always hard in terms of positioning. Sometimes there's a dilemma, right? Do I move ahead to good positioning to save myself while I have the chance? Or do I stay behind in horrible positioning with my team? And there's a time and place for both. There's a time and place for both. It's very situational, right? But there are some situations, and there are several across this game, where unfortunately I got too sentimental, and just like before, where you saw me go back like on 𝒮𝔞𝔤𝔢𝔯𝔞𝔡 when I went back with my ulti to try and get my mate up, when really I should have just left him. Like I should have just left him, but it always feels so selfish to do that, right? There will be a couple of those situations as well here. Now, don't ever go over a point of no return without your teammates. That would be unacceptable. Again, I was trying to sort of get them to move ahead, but when that didn't happen, you know, the quickest thing you can do is go help them out, right? Or leave them, but, you know, that's not acceptable or a viable strategy, so if you feel like your teammates are slow, how about helping them get faster? Like, if you're constantly running ahead, you're not helping them move. Get what I'm saying? Someone has problem with minions behind them. If you think someone is like, oh, they're so slow all the time, then how about freaking helping them move ahead, right? Like, then go. Like, they're the limiting factor. If they are the limiting factor, help the limiting factor. Also, this is freaking amazing. This is the best part of the video. Backflip, and then he gets shot. Pew! Gets the extra momentum. Does another backflip. Now, I was looking for like some judge scorecards, 10 out of 10, but I couldn't find any. So instead, I did this. The double backflip! The double backflip, it was beautiful. Don't tell me that double backflip, sorry, it wasn't beautiful. Just because Beastie Boy into gymnastics, okay? You don't have to, don't have to judge him, okay? This was very beautiful backflip.
We must recover this before more harm is caused. This is the correct path. Mystical charging! Which your aim is as crooked.
And remember to use the stacker heavy, because you have mainstay, 60% extra damage. Boom! Right into my grasp. It was almost like fishing. You fish?
Another right reach. I've a shot for your rotten hands like storm.
Again, you can pretty much two-shot every special because of the extra power you have. Also, guess, if you're playing the Zealot, two things. First of all, don't ever pick up a Kong pot. Unless you're holding the Kong pot for your shade or for your grail, like for your bounty hunter, for your Grail Knight or for your shade, or huntsman or whatever it might be, right? Don't ever pick up a Kong pot. If you are going to pick up a Kong pot, the first thing you should do is give your teammate that Kong pot, because the Kong pot is absolutely useless on the Zealot. Same with Unchained, absolutely useless. Okay, you have nothing to use it for, right? So pick it up, give it to your teammate. Chances are, if he finds a speed pot, he'll give it to you first thing. Great idea. It's brilliant. It works. Also, oh yeah. No, I'll talk about that later. That's a better spot for it. Now, I find that there are 3 places in this map where people wipe usually. There's the first boss spawn spot where we were fighting before, right before the double backflip. Then there's this area we're arriving to right now. And then there's the third boss spawn area with like the narrow ridge and like an open plain afterwards, right? It's always one of those 3 spots. And I think there's at least one aspect for this area here that people forget whenever they get a boss, because you quite often get a boss spot. It's very common to have a boss here. And yet I see teams failing this area all the time. Like, I don't know, there's something about the terrain, I think, that people get stuck here a lot. They struggle to move, sort of have a good flow of movement, which is important. If you get stuck in Vermintide, you die in Vermintide. That's just the way it is. But there are actually plenty of places here you could aggro the boss and circle around if you wanted to. Also, there's a great area right here, where if you have a Minotaur, if you ever have a Minotaur here, aggro the Minotaur, jump down here, right? Like, jump down here, let it charge you, and as soon as it charges you, you dodge sideways, throw a bump, and it falls off the cliff. Or if you are playing like Mercenary Cooper or something, use your ability, right? Well, we had a chaos bomb. Now this is where things start to get interesting and go sideways, as in my whole team dies. Remember, you can use bombs to clear banners. That's also a really, really good tip. So if you ever need to clear some banners and you have a bomb, you can use that. Now my passive is down, right? So I have no passive. I have 23 HP. I'm in danger, right? This is the point where, you know, there's no room for mistakes here, right? Now the reason I went in here is because I quite often found that the item spawn in here has a health pot. Not always, but quite often. And I could use one, so that's why I went into the cave. Now, see that reposition I did there? That's actually really important. If you're in a bad spot with the Zealot, use your ultimate. Jump first and use your ultimate. Like, that is absolutely crucial. So when you get stuck, you may have no stamina and you're surrounded. Jump, ulti, as I said earlier. It's alpha and omega. And you see, the thing people tend to forget about this area here is that if you have a boss spawn, guaranteed all your teammates will revive right here. Right here. Which means you don't need to pull off some amazing one-man clutch boss fight versus, again, it's about consistency, logical thinking, and sort of, well, like, logical choices. Like, again, now I have Kubra. Now, I'm not sure if Kubra does this intentionally, or it just so happens that he is fleeing from the boss, and the boss ends up over there. But what you should do here, and what he does, you see, there he aggroed the boss, and now he's running away. Why is that a good thing? That is a good thing because with the boss not here, I can now revive everyone else safely. It's very hard to revive someone without invisibility when a chaos spawn is on you, right? Not impossible, but very hard. So, again, I don't know if he did it intentionally, but props to him regardless. He gave me plenty of room to revive the others. And sure, it cost him his life. He's about to die. He should have probably, if he had been a little smart, he would have dragged it up the mountain instead of down there. Again, easy in hindsight, because there you can circle. But nonetheless, it was a good trade. Him for 2 others, like for 2 teammates, it's a good trade. That means now we have 3 people, and resing him is going to be even easier. So again, it's very, like, it's really important as a new player to understand how to deal with bosses and specials. And that is to separate them, control them, keep them away from your teammates. That is, if you have aggro, it is your job to sort of, that burden is on you now. You have aggro. It is what it is. You have aggro now. So the one thing you need to make sure of is that you don't screw your teammates over by having aggro. And watch this 200 IQ play.
Hold up, I'm drinking.
Before he even got grabbed, I saw it coming. Never question this big brain right here. Barrel plays! That's another thing. Guys, always do barrel plays. I don't care who you are. Always do barrel plays. Okay, barrel plays are always amazing. Amazingly amazing or amazingly horrible, but it doesn't matter. It's a win-win, okay? It's a win-win. Barrel plays is always great. Don't hit each other's barrels. Someone else picks a barrel up and throws it half a mile with them. Don't fuck with their barrel. Don't steal their barrel play. If they pick the barrel, it's their barrel, okay? Don't fuck with the man's barrel. There's nothing worse than when you like grab a barrel, you throw it twice because you want to, you want to position it in a spot and do something with it, and then someone else is like grabs it the next and throws it away and shoots it, and I'm like, bruh. Seriously. Don't do that. Don't be that guy. And he got grabbed again. Doing specials first. And you see again, the salvation of this run, despite being a 1v4 in horrible circumstances here, with a bit of clear thinking and a bit of map knowledge, it wasn't really, I wouldn't say it wasn't that hard, but again, it just required that I didn't screw it over, that I didn't make mistakes, that I didn't overthink it, and just, stayed in the area where I could rest them. And then sort of, like you could literally, if 2 people could stay alive at any given time, then you're good here. Just need 2 people, 1 person to have the boss aggro and 1 person to revive everyone else. As long as you can keep it to 2 people alive, you can just rest your teammates over and over and over infinitely until the boss is dead. Okay? So if you're struggling with this map, keep that in mind. And that goes for any boss world, really. Again, you can play it risky when your passive is off cooldown, right? You should. But as soon as I didn't want to take any chances here, so I drank my health pack, okay? Now, one thing I wanna say to all you Zealot players out there is stop being so goddamn religiously fanatical about having max power stacks, okay? I've seen people leave games, I've seen people kill teammates, I've seen people rage completely because a teammate healed them. And sure, that's annoying, right? If that's not what you wanted. But stop treating it as if you either have 6 power stacks or you're just useless and nothing matters. And like, why even play the game if I don't even have 6 power? Like, stop it, okay? Kill yourself. Shut up, uninstall the game, and kill yourself, okay? Like, I don't mean that literally, but in the game, yes, in the game, kill yourself. Like, it's all you. Should you go for 6 stacks at the beginning of the game when you can do it safely? Yes. Is that the most optimal way to play it? Yes. Is it an absolute disaster if you have to survive on 4 power stacks and only 10% attack speed for the next 5 minutes? No. Okay? So you shouldn't do retarded, crazy, risky stuff just to get those 2 power stacks at any given time. You can clear stuff out and wait until you have a moment where it's safe and ask your battle wizard to shoot you in the face. Something, right? But I see people like, it's like 6 power stacks or nothing. Like, if I don't have 6 power stacks, why even play this hero, right? That's the attitude I feel like a lot of Zealot players have. Just don't. Just don't. Take it easy. You're strong enough even without all those power stacks, okay? So, if there's no environment in which to lose the HP safely, you just do it slowly. Just play a little bit carelessly, so you get hit here and there, and slowly, over time, you'll take some damage and gain more power stacks, okay? It's not worth dropping an entire game for, just because you wanted to have 6 power stacks, okay? Literally see people. It baffles me sometimes. recall an instance of someone who just flipped the fuck out on voice chat after we had a ranger guardian who intentionally, to help him because he was low, he didn't know better, right, on legend, and he went over and he drank his health pot with heal share next to him, and he just flipped the fuck. He lost his fucking mind. Despite the ranger veteran being like, sorry, you know, and apologizing, right? And I won't do it again, and the dude just flipped the fuck out. And then when our Grail Knight, like when someone picked up a Grimoire, so we got health regen through the quest from the Grail Knight, he just straight up said, fuck you, and left the game. Like, bruh. Bruh, relax, okay? Is it annoying when the health regen? Yes, okay. But come on. It doesn't make the game unplayable. Now, this is the next area where people screw up all the time. And I mean all the time. As soon as you go down this point of no return, you have to make a choice as a team right here. Okay? You see that ridge, that narrow ridge right here, okay? You don't want to be there, okay? That is a place you don't want to be. So here you have one of two choices. You either, depending on when the last horde spawned, when you fought a horde like previously, you either immediately rush through it, stick to the left, just keep taking a left turn until you get up to the sort of the plain, or you wait here, fight the next horde and all the incoming minions, and when there's sort of a window of opportunity, then you rush straight through. But you don't stop the fight in the middle of it. And what happens so often is one person stops the fight, right? And is too slow. And he falls. Then another person, sort of in an attempt to help, goes back to try and save that person who fell, who should be left behind. In that area, I don't care. In that area there, if someone drops and they're furthest behind, you leave them immediately. There's just no argument, like, because otherwise you'll have a chain effect. The first person dropping, then the next person drops trying to save him, then the third and before you know it, enough minions drop down in front of you. You're completely blocked. You're completely surrounded. There's no way out of there, and you lose the match. Like so many times. Right? Even here, I sort of fell for it because it feels so bad to just rush through it and leave your team there, right? If your team isn't, they don't get it. And you're like, come here, let's go through, but they just stop the fight there. Then I'm actually really split. I'm like, I don't want to just leave them because that seems like such a dick move. But honestly, in my opinion, the team is better off if you leave in that instance, right? In that instance. Because you just don't want to be down there. It's like the worst spot in the entire map.
Sticking to you.
And it only takes one brick for the dominoes to fall, right? And unfortunately, I didn't have that much communication with the team here as a whole. And you can't really, again, it's quick play, and that's what we're learning in the context of here. So you can't just expect your team to do what makes sense just because you ask them to, right? So that's what's important here. That's an important lesson here, I would say. I just went in here to try and clear up those archers. Whoops. Unfortunately, that didn't go so well. I had to drink the pot. Now, here's a window. And like minions will drop by. Like it's not gonna be clear. But this is totally fine to move through. Like this, no problem. You just gotta keep moving. And don't stop, right? See this? No problem. Could keep going. Here, I had to go back because Kubo was too far behind. Now, that in of itself wasn't a problem, but then Bardian dropped. And now we also had to spend time reviving Bardian, who then died anyway, like momentarily. And now look how many minions start to drop down in front of us, right? Like, I can get through, but the others, they can't get through now. It's too late. right? There's a bunch of assassins jumping us, and by like before you know it, you're just completely boxed in. And it's happened so many times. I've seen it happen so many times. But in that instance, I would say I should have just left them. I honestly should have. But I felt bad if I had, so I didn't. It is what it is. Again, it's nothing against the team. Again, it just shows that he's a good teammate, Kruber, that he actually cares to try and get, you know, the engineer up. So I get it. But there's just certain situations, and that's one of them, where you simply have to go, sorry bro, you on your own, my friend. Like, if you die from here to here, you are on your own. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget, smash like, subscribe. Smash that like button. Oh. Don't be salty, my friend. Don't be salty. No. We'll make more like these. Which one would you guys like to see next? I was thinking about doing another shade. Because I feel like I need to do some updated stuff on her. Haven't done some shade content in quite a while, so that was my personal idea. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and as always, I love you guys. Stay awesome. Peace out, mad lad.